walked away a decorated hero. He introduced me to the room like an exhibit. Ms. Crane will assist with tactical analysis simulations, he said. She's academically qualified. Laughter flickered. A Lieutenant Rowe leaned back, whispering too loud. Didn't know we were letting professors play soldier. I turned toward him. I'm not here to play, Lieutenant. I'm here to see who actually understands the rules. His grin faltered. Across the room, Harlan's eyes narrowed, not in anger, but recognition, the kind a man gives when he senses the past catching up. The day dragged like cold metal. I walked the base, memorizing corridors, faces, the rhythm of command. At night in my quarters, I removed my boots, opened my laptop, and typed a familiar password. Ethan 7. The hidden file appeared. Nightingale after action. I hadn't opened it since the day I was ordered to bury it. Under the dim yellow light, I scrolled past the coordinates, the redacted names, the casualty codes. The last line glowed back at me like a wound reopened. Kia Ethan Crane confirmed. My breath caught the same confirmation Harlan signed. 7 years of silence. 7 years of watching a lie grow metals. The screen flickered, and in the reflection I saw myself. Not the consultant, not the widow, but the woman who'd once led ghosts through fire. And as I shut the laptop, one thought settled cold in my chest. The circle was closing. By the second day at Fort Liberty, I could tell something in the air was off. The base ran like a self-contained city, mess halls, training fields, simulation towers. But beneath the order, there was a nervous pulse. People spoke in clipped tones, eyes shifting too often toward security cameras, as if waiting for a shoe to drop. That morning, I joined the evaluation of the new combat simulations. Rows of SEAL trainees moved inside a holographic grid, their movements tracked and timed down to the millisecond on screen. I noticed something wrong. The female test team's reaction data lagged by almost a full second. That kind of delay doesn't happen unless someone changes the code. Latency error? I asked the tech operator. He wouldn't meet my eyes. Must be calibration. Sure, calibration doesn't rewrite algorithms. I filed a temporary report, flagged the anomaly, and by noon I was summoned to Harlan's office. He tossed the paper on his desk, voice dry and heavy with mock patience. Are you implying sabotage, Miss Crane? I'm implying someone's afraid of women outperforming them. His smile thinned. You've been out of uniform too long. We don't run witch hunts here. Neither do I, Admiral. I run audits. In the hallway, Lieutenant Rowe leaned against the wall with 2 others, smirking. Careful, ma'am. People don't like it when teachers talk too loud. They don't have to like it, I said, walking past. They'll listen when the grades come in. That night, a message pinged my encrypted line. No sender. They changed the data set again. South Wing Terminal, midnight. I threw on my jacket and went. The data room glowed with the sterile blue of monitors, code scrolling like rain. A figure waited by the servers, tall, short hair, no insignia on her Navy uniform. Captain Lavon, she said quietly. I froze. It's been a long time, 7 years since Nightingale. No handshake, no small talk, just the silence of people who've seen hell and survived it. Why now? I asked. Because Harlan's erasing what's left of us, she said. He's rewriting Nightingale as his redemption story. And this, she handed me a small silver USB as proof he's doing it again. Before slipping out the door, she paused and whispered, Don't report yet. Don't speak too soon. 4 days later, everything went up in flames, literally during a nighttime drill inside the urban simulation complex. The fire alarm screamed. What was supposed to be a controlled smoke exercise became real fire through the static on the radio. I caught the panic in Rose's voice. Team Bravo trapped, doors sealed. Nobody at the control center knew the emergency override. I stepped forward. Crane, step back, Harlan ordered. I ignored him. My fingers flew over the keyboard, typing an override sequence only 4 people alive should know. The system hissed, doors unlocked, smoke poured out, followed by the coughing, blackened silhouettes of Team Bravo. Rose stumbled toward me, eyes wide. Who taught you that sequence? Nobody you'd find in a manual, I said. By morning, I was under investigation for unauthorized system access in the interrogation room. I faced Harlan through the one-way glass. You just can't stop breaking rules, can you? He said. Some rules protect systems, I answered. Others protect people, he leaned closer. And which one do you think you are? Tired of both. Later, back in my quarters, an unmarked envelope waited on my desk. Inside was a copy of the internal Nightingale inquiry signed by Harlan himself, timestamped 6 hours before Ethan died. He'd transmitted our coordinates to Redfield Dynamics, a defense contractor once accused of leaking intel to Turkey. I sat there for what felt like forever, the world narrowing to the hum of the lamp above me. At midnight, I plugged in LRA's USB. The file inside was an audio clip, Harlan's voice, calm, cold. Make sure no one finds out she was on that channel. The analyst dies with the mission. The chair crashed behind me as I stood, every nerve burned. Now I understood why he couldn't meet my eyes when we first met again. Outside, the night wind carried the smell of smoke still hanging over the base. I looked up at the sky and whispered to Ethan, "They tried to bury the truth with you, but they picked the wrong widow to silence. Hell doesn't always scream. Sometimes it hums through alarms and the smell of burning steel." That night, I was on duty in the control room. The simulation screens flickered red. A young officer shouted, "Fire simulation malfunction, temperature spike in Sector C." But the data wasn't simulated. The heat was real. One SEAL team was trapped inside. Through the radio, Rose's voice cracked. "This isn't fake smoke. We're trapped." No one knew the emergency code. Harlan barked. "Crane, step back." I didn't. My fingers moved on instinct. 12 keys, an old intelligence override. Only 4 people alive still knew. The system hissed, doors unlocked, and smoke spilled out as 4 soldiers stumbled free. Roe looked at me in disbelief. "You shouldn't have known that code. No one should have been trapped in the first place," I said. An hour later, I sat in interrogation. Harlan glared across the table. "You violated protocol. I saved lives. You think rules are optional?" "No," I said quietly. "Just written to protect men like you," he flinched. Not from anger, but fear. That night, Roe found me outside, arm bandaged, cigarette glowing. "Thanks for the save." "You were there, weren't you, Knight Andale?" I didn't answer. The silence said enough. Back in my quarters. A letter waited, one line in familiar handwriting. "You're getting close. Watch your 6." The next day, Harlan called a closed meeting. Our consultant breached systems beyond her clearance, he announced, eyes turned on me. The accused. I said nothing. Later, LRA met me by the lake. "They're setting you up, but we have proof." The silver USB played Harlan's voice. "Redfield has the coordinates. Keep Crane out of the loop." My heart pounded. Ethan hadn't died in battle. He'd been betrayed. "What now?" I asked. "Next week," LRA said. "Pentagon ceremony cameras, everyone. That's where we end it." "Yeah." That night, I stood in the old archive, staring at his signature glowing on the mission file. "You wanted to erase us, Marcus," I whispered. "But ghosts don't retire. The biggest secrets were never locked in safes. They hid in the forgotten files, buried under dust and denial." That night, I opened the classified archive labeled Knight Andale Debrief. 6 reports, 6 missing men. The last line froze my pulse. Status Kia. Confirmed by Admiral Marcus Harland. Ethan Crane, the name burned. I'd once written that same report, never knowing the man who confirmed Ethan's death was the one who caused it. I scanned the operation log. The coordinates matched my original plan, except the timestamp. Harlan had delayed deployment by 3 hours, just enough time for the enemy to ambush them. Then came his recorded voice. "Redfield dynamics. Confirm receipt of coordinates and delete the cross. Link to the analyst." Every word sliced through me. I remembered the static. Ethan's final transmission. "We've been compromised." Then silence. I stared into the mirror, met the eyes of a woman who'd aged 7 years overnight. "You wanted silence, Marcus," I whispered. "You'll have it until you hear mine." By morning, Fort Liberty buzzed with news. A Pentagon ceremony to honor Operation Nightingale. My invitation bore Harlan's signature. "Your attendance will be appreciated." The arrogance was almost poetic. I called LRA. "It's happening next Friday. Cameras, generals, the works." She said he thinks it's his redemption arc. Then it'll also be his trial. That night by the Puxant, moonlight rippled across the water as I turned Ethan's scorched wedding ring in my hand. "They'll see you again, Ethan. Through me." Silence stretched like a promise. I sealed the evidence with a final label. Authorization, Widow Protocol. 3 days before the ceremony, Harlan called me in. His medals glimmered like counterfeit suns. "You'll attend Crane front row. The Navy still values loyalty. To truth or to rank. Don't confuse the two." He said perception is reality. Not for long. LRA met me one last time at a Navy Yard cafe. She was pale, voice low. "Redfield's under investigation. If he falls, they all do. Then it's worth it." She gripped my hand. "If anything goes wrong, say Widow Protocol. The rest follows." The night before the event, I found a photo on my desk. Ethan, Heron, and me after a long-ago mission. On the back, a single scroll. "You can't bury the past, Widow." He'd been there, still trying to play the puppeteer. At dawn, I arrived in Washington. The Pentagon gleamed under a pale sky. Ban! RS hung high, honoring Knight Andale. Cameras hummed, the stage gleamed, the lie stood ready. LRA slipped me a guest badge, her whisper steady. "Everything's in place, make it count." I nodded. 7 years of silence were ending at sunrise, and this time the story would not die quietly. The morning of the ceremony was cold and shrouded in fog. I sat in the front row of the Pentagon auditorium, a silent shadow in a black suit. On stage, Admiral Harlan spoke to the cameras, his voice polished. Steady, we gathered to honor the heroes of Operation Nightingale. His gaze found me. The tremor in his hand betrayed him. Laura sat in the back, met my eyes, and gave one small nod. Ready? Then Harlan smiled that smug, cruel smile. Tell us, Crane, what was your call sign again? The hall fell still. I rose, Iron Widow. The glass slipped from his hand and shattered. The silence cut deeper than the sound. 7 years ago, I said, stepping Clear's throat forward. 6 SEALs died because someone leaked their coordinates. One of them was my husband. I held up the silver USB and plugged it in. Harlan's own voice echoed through the speakers. Redfield has the coordinates. Keep Crane out of the loop. Gasps. Confusion. Then Rose shouted, she saved my team. Only a classified operator could do that. One by one, every SEAL stood and saluted. You wanted silence, Admiral, I said. Here it is. The headline spread like wildfire. The widow who broke the silence. That's what they called me. But I didn't read the articles. I only listened to the radio, the announcer's calm voice describing an unprecedented internal investigation within the Department of Defense. Harlan's retirement was announced as medical leave. No one used the word betrayal, but the silence around it said everything. Laura came to visit me by the river. We sat on the porch watching the water shimmer in the fading light. They'll try to bury it again, she said. I know, I replied, but too many people have seen the truth this time. Her smile was tired but proud. You didn't just save your husband's honor, you changed ours. I looked at my hand, the pale circle where my ring used to be. Justice doesn't roar. Alright, I whispered, it waits, and when it finally speaks, even admirals fall silent. We stayed quiet, listening to the wind move through the reeds and the cry of distant gulls, somewhere in that stillness. I felt Ethan. No longer a wound, just presence. The truth had already spoken for him. A month later, I was asked to return to Annapolis. I agreed on one condition. I designed my own course. Shadow Ethics Leadership Under Fire. Every morning I faced a classroom full of young faces, eager and untested. I told them stories I was once forbidden to tell, not for revenge, but as a reminder. Power means nothing without integrity. One student asked, "Ma'am, were you ever afraid?" Always, I said. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing what matters more. On the last day, I left a small box on my desk. Inside was a silver badge engraved with 2 words, Iron Widow. I didn't wear it. I placed it in the sunlight streaming through the window, light that looked exactly like the morning Harlan fell. A year passed. Fort Liberty had a new commander, and the Pentagon never spoke Harlan's name again. But in its hallways, whispered like a warning, 2 words lingered, Iron Widow. Today marked the start of a new term. 2. Young women.